did you hear about the guy a lot of years ago, really long time ago? Came out of nowhere, it seemed like. Started saying all these things people really, really liked. Was killed for them terribly by the government. And then came back from the dead?
With chocolate Easter eggs.
That was amazing. Those cute little bunnies.
It's incredible.
Did you hear about that guy?
I did.
Yeah.
Pretty cool dude.
Fucking pretty cool dude. Started, there was just one time.
He had great hair.
There was just one time where people were super, super thirsty. And he took all of their water and he made it in a wine, dude, just to fuck with them. And they had no more water to drink. So they all just got really, really drunk. Is that how the story goes? Is that how that goes? They were in the fucking desert, for fuck's sakes. And they were so thirsty. He took water in the desert and made it not water.
I don't think that's how the story goes.
Dear Brother, with Alex and Mark, is brought to you by absolutely no one. A conspiracy theory is an explanation for an event or situation that invokes a conspiracy by sinister and powerful groups, often political in motivation, when other explanations are more probable. The term has a negative connotation, implying that the appeal to a conspiracy is based on a prejudice or insufficient evidence. Conspiracy theories resist falsification and are reinforced by circular reasoning. Welcome back to the Dear Brother podcast. Today, Alex and I are going to be discussing conspiracy theories. This is a follow-up to our previous episode where we discussed freedom, or rather, what is freedom? What we determined is that we don't know what freedom is.
Nope. Not even close.
And I bet you don't know either. If you'd like to tell us what you think freedom is, find us on Twitter at dearbrother_pod or email us at dearbrother411@gmail.com. So what do you want to do? How do you want to do this?
How do you want to do it? You want to talk about some conspiracy theories or the nonsense behind them, or
Well, I have a theory about
is it a conspiracy theory?
I mean, it could. Well, no, because it doesn't actually fit the definition that it's invoked by a sinister or powerful group, often political in motivation. My theory about conspiracy theories is that, to some degree, there's mental illness involved. And the increasing prevalence of the belief in conspiracy theories indicates a greater problem with society than anything else.
Well, I think nowadays it's easier to spread them than in the past. So there's more of the population, I guess, exposed to the theories. And there's more avenues, or it's easier to get that information now, right? Because everybody can just log onto their computer or their phone and just go on the web, and you're loaded up with conspiracy theories.
And go down the rabbit hole.
Right. If you think back to the day, I would say like one of the original conspiracies, one of the original popular ones is the JFK assassination.
Let's call it a modern day conspiracy theory.
Right. And that one still exists. You still have groups of people who will say that, Lee Harvey Oswald was not the lone shooter, and whether it was our own government who took him out, or the CIA, or the mob, or the Cubans, or whoever. But it's not one of those conspiracy theories that's what's the word I'm looking for here? I guess it's not a dangerous one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't have like a direct impact. Like to fast forward, the whole Pizzagate thing more recently resulted in somebody showing up to a pizza place with a gun,
Right.
attempting to find the children that were supposedly in a basement where there wasn't even a basement.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's I'm trying to. Fuck it. I'll just talk about it. So 9/11.
Yes.
That's of all the conspiracy theories that exist, that's the one that upsets me the most because I don't know. It's it's more of a, maybe it's more personal than the others, that Americans, let's say, because truthfully, it's all over the world, but let's just stick to here, are more willing to believe that their own government perpetrated that act directly for some nonsense reasons that we don't need to go into, versus understanding the reasons why that might have happened, still maybe through our actions from previous generations or years. You can draw lines through history to understand why things occur. That they'd be more willing to believe that our own government would kill our own citizens directly in such an false attack in order to control us, rather than understanding the reality behind it. Something like that, I think, is carried through all the conspiracy theories. That there's this, like, I want to believe this thing about this circumstance, this complicated thing I don't particularly understand. I'd rather believe this one over here than believe the real story. And I don't understand what that is. That's something that's broken, I think. And it's not even about one being right or wrong, or the simpler explanation, but like you're twisting yourself in a pretzel with just about any conspiracy theory. You twist yourself in a logical pretzel in an effort to try to explain your thinking about how a thing occurred versus just looking at the way that it really occurred. And I don't get that. Like, what? Some shit is broke.
It goes back to what we said in the previous episode. I think it's part of certain people's inability to deal with or this perception of authority, right? They don't want to accept what the media or the government is telling us to be true, so they look for something to grasp onto. Oh, those buildings were designed to take a plane hit. They should have never fallen. There had to be bombs in there. There had to have been dynamite. Those things were imploded. How do you know? Are you a structural engineer?
Well, I mean, there was that one structural engineer who put a video on YouTube about it.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. There's so many avenues for just misinformation.
Well, yeah. I mean, look. So, there's a couple of things spring to mind. First thing is, I said it in a previous episode. Is just because there are dots doesn't mean they connect. And that's one of the biggest problems with a lot of things. Not just the idea of a conspiracy theory, but just because you see things out in the world doesn't mean that they're related directly, or doesn't mean that one's caused another. And so it's the thing that's confusing to me about it is how there's just a general disconnect between the way some people think about the world and the way other people think about the world. And I use the example of my ex-wife's mother, who once made the statement, the reason parents bring their children to the beach, or rather bring their children to the boardwalk in strollers for walks, is because when I go to the beach, I'm tired when I get home. And so therefore, bringing babies to the beach makes them tired, and so they'll sleep through the night.
Seems reasonable.
I mean, and you could see her logic. You could watch it occur. But no, that's not it. Like, the presence of the beach doesn't make you sleepy. It was because you spent the whole day out in the sun, hanging out outside.
Right, walking.
Doing things, as opposed to sitting at home watching television. That's why you were tired when you got home, because you had activities. But like that didn't register.
No, it was the ocean air, clearly.
Well, right. I mean, just the mere presence of the ocean air would cause one to be sleepy, like tryptophan in turkey. It's like,
God, if that were only the case.
right? You just imagine living, like I was going to say, imagine living on an island. You live on an island.
I live on an island.
Everybody on Long Island would be sleepy all the time. It'd be just exhausted.
Be glorious.
Nothing would ever get done. There'd be no economy. People would just be sleeping, 23 hours a day. That damned ocean.
Got to use that excuse next time at work. Why didn't it get done? That ocean air, man, really tired me out. Sorry, boss.
Makes me so sleepy. Yeah. Fucking ridiculous. So, yeah. Look, all right. We're jumping all over the map here. Let's baseline some stuff here. So, the idea that we've come to here is that there is a set of beliefs that are involved in conspiracy theory. I believe that there is a little bit of mental illness in there, at least in part. And I also think that the reason why people will be apt to believe in a conspiracy theory in the first place is because all humans, myself included, as much as I'd like to try to separate myself from the rest, have a tendency to believe shit. Like whatever it is, in my view, that's why religion exists in the first place, because we have a tendency to want to believe things. And problems can be complicated, and things that we don't understand may seem mystical, and so we attribute explanations to them that aren't true through our beliefs. And then maybe some people, no matter how much truth they see, actual real truth, refuse to accept it and continue to believe some shit.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't like that at all. Either that or you didn't listen to a word of it and you're trying to figure out how to pretend to respond.
No, I listen to it. It makes sense. I'm trying to play the devil's advocate side of it and give
excellent.
Give reason to believing in conspiracy theories.
Go. I'm ready to listen.
I can't come up with a good reason. That's why. Hence the radio silence.
Let's make one up and then pretend that that's true. And no matter what happens, we'll stick to it.
Well, first off, they're fun, right? I mean,
okay,
not really when you think of what we're talking about, but
it's on face value, it's a story.
It's a story, right?
Okay.
It's a story. It's the game of telephone. Oh, did you hear about this one? Did you hear about that? Oh, and then it develops into a story, and everyone adds their own little seasoning to it, and it becomes this thing that everyone kind of contributed to, and it's fun to talk about at parties and be silly about, right? Until it's not.
All those parties we go to.
Yes, all those luxurious parties we go to.
I like to make small talk at parties.
I invented the phrase "booyah."
Okay, hold on. I don't know if this will make it into the episode or not, but we're in Boston. We're visiting Corey. Somehow he convinces us to go to a party.
Yeah.
At somebody's apartment.
Yep.
We go to that party, and we stand awkwardly by the front door for the better part of at least an hour before we're able to retreat. What part of the story did that come from?
Corey was telling his friends that you were responsible, I believe, for coining the phrase. Was it at the end of the day?
I think it was.
Yeah, at the end of the day, and mine was "booyah." It's sort of a little conspiracy theory, isn't it? A little false truth that
he told them a story, and then we ran with it. That's right.
And we ran with it, and it was absurd. And I don't know if anyone believed us.
I don't remember that anybody. Well, I can't say if anybody believed us, but I do remember we captured the attention of a few people who were like, "Wow, that's amazing that you did that." And whether they were like placating us or not, I don't know.
Right.
But oh wow, that's fucking funny.
So now the question becomes, with going back to conspiracy theories, is it something that someone just created just for attention, and it just became something bigger than they expected to? So they said, "Meh, I'll run with it."
What's the genesis of the conspiracy theory? Yeah, that's a very good question, because I've always made an assumption that a conspiracy theory, maybe not that it starts with a grain of truth, but it certainly has a grain of truth, right? Because I think anything to that degree always has some kernel of truth at its center, right? Where you can easily say this truth, but then you wrap it all in the nonsense stuff. But maybe it doesn't start with that at all. Somebody just being a fucking lunatic and thought they were being funny, or
It could be as simple as that, and that it landed on the wrong ear, and someone believed it, and then they had an idiot friend, and they believed it, and then it grew to a big thing,
Okay.
a bigger thing than what it should have been.
I think that's a really interesting point. Let's just say for a moment that let's call it any conspiracy theory starts off with some bullshit out of somebody's mouth for fun or whatever, right? And then
Right.
through, communication and extrapolation and the game of telephone, it turns into this bigger thing, which is nuts. But I mean, I can buy that.
Let's use the 9/11 thing if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't,
How I don't like I can't pinpoint how long after 9/11 happened that the theories came out.
Oh, right away, dude. Right.
Yeah,
I mean, within. Let's put it this way: at least within a month or so, because
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't remember it like that. I thought it was like at least a year or two before it started. The nonsense.
I would say that it was a year or two before it became sufficiently prevalent. But I remember seeing it almost right away, to the point where I remember thinking very early on. And I don't remember exactly what the timeline is, so this could be really off. But I remember thinking very early on, like how quickly we fall, like because you remember, and anybody who was there at the time remembers, as bad as it was, and as tragic and as terrible, the thing that came out of it was, for this moment, we all felt like we were together, and people were seeming to be more kind, and things were a little different between us, and to be sure, we weren't as polarized then as we are now, but we were still polarized to some degree, and it was different, and that fell off a cliff real fast. It only took about a month or so before stupid shit started happening again, in my experience. I'm sorry, what was your point?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't remember it that way. I thought that the way I remembered it was the theories came out, like a year or two after the actual thing. But I could be wrong. It's 20 years ago, so.
Yeah, well, fuck, it was 20 years ago. So, okay. So, all right, let's follow that train of thought of it being just some jerk started a rumor and it turned into a thing.
Right.
Here's the flip side of it. Several years ago, I went down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, and I did so in the same way that I did with religion, with the expectation that I was going to learn about and study as much as I could the theories that people held, in an effort to try to understand how those things worked and who those people were and why they believed what they believed and whether or not maybe they were right about something. I don't know. I was curious. So I spent the time and I looked. And I found a whole host of them. But there's one that sticks out in particular, and it's referred to, I believe, by the people who believe it of themselves. It's referred to as gang stalking. And gang stalking is a term attributed to when an individual believes that they are being targeted, surveilled, and harassed, usually by a government entity, for reasons that they can't really articulate. And what they start doing is they start deciding that these entities, whoever they are regularly tracking them, basically running surveillance on them. And so they'll put up a GoPro in their car and they'll go to, the grocery store and they'll post a video of themselves on YouTube sitting in their car narrating the goings on outside. And they'll make decisions like I see a red car and it's Wednesday and it's red car Wednesday. And when I went into the store and I bought I went to go buy corn and somebody in a red shirt was also buying corn. And then I saw them at the checkout counter again and they had corn and shampoo. And therefore it's weird that they were in the store, because who buys corn and shampoo when I was also buying corn on Wednesday, which is red day. And they, so again, they're connecting these dots that don't exist. And you could spend way too much time watching these people. And from my perspective, I was trying to understand what was going on, what was really happening. Were they Was there something happening here? Were they being surveilled, or was it really somebody's paranoia or other issue that was manifesting itself into the public space? And what I think I figured out is that previously, let's call it 30 years ago, somebody with paranoid schizophrenia or some other issue would not be able to record and post their ramblings onto the internet. And their hallucinations or their delusions or whatever would live in themselves, and maybe they would be able to seek help and maybe they wouldn't, but their ideas would basically die with them. They wouldn't spread beyond their individual selves. But then YouTube happened, basically, and they had this ability to post these videos. And what is, I believe, likely is that other people share these paranoias and these delusions, because mental illness is real and people have delusions. And one person posted their delusions on YouTube, and a person with delusions Googled their delusions on Google and found their YouTube video that expressed their delusions, and they went, oh man, see? And then they posted their delusions on YouTube, and the next thing you know, you had a community of delusional people who, instead of like maybe trying to seek help for the fact that they were delusional, instead reinforced themselves into thinking that in fact there was an entity surveilling them.
Well, yeah, now they have proof, because look, see, it happened to that guy too.
Right. And so I believe that those types of people need some sort of help. I'm not a psychologist. I can't say for sure, but that's my belief, is that they need some sort of help, because that's not a healthy way to be, because that's not a real thing that's happening. And those people, I believe, are susceptible to believing conspiracy theories at large, and including what you believe, the dude who starts a thing on, what are these websites nowadays, 4chan and 8chan, and where the Nazis hang out and say stupid shit and start nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so somebody starts some rumor, some nonsense theory. It goes from being what might have just been a troll's joke to being a thing that people believed in. But at large, I believe the people that grasp those, and I mean really grasp them, I believe they have a mental illness and they need help.
You're probably right, especially in that scenario where, who can really think that the government, like, why would the government want to stalk Charlie from up the block, who's a carpenter?
Well, that's the thing. And so I think to some degree they placed some self-importance on themselves, because otherwise what's the impetus for that to occur? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Why do you think you're special?
Right, exactly. That would be the question I'd ask them. Like, hey, why do you think the FBI is following you? What have you done that's so important that the FBI needs to follow you?
Why do you think you're so damn special that they want you?
And even if they are, what do you care? If the FBI can come follow me, they're going to find a very boring fucking job.
It's going to be super boring.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. And I think, I hate to do this, because quite often my worldview is sort of boring, in that I believe everything's on a spectrum. And I believe this is on a spectrum too. And I believe there are some people who are mentally ill who will grab onto conspiracy theories of some sort, and they will hold on to them no matter what. And then I believe there's other people who will grab onto it a little bit and go like, well, that's kind of like, maybe that's true. Maybe, like, I don't know, maybe really that did happen that way. I mean, I don't know if it did, but maybe it did. And I kind of like, I don't know the truth anyway. So why not go with that one? And maybe those people aren't mentally ill. Maybe they're just, I don't know. Maybe they're just bored.
They can be bored.
Yeah.
Look, some of them are, again, it's shitty to talk about morbid things, but some of them are kind of fun to talk about, right? I'll go back to the JFK thing. You want to dissect it. It's like, the easy explanation is, yes, it was Oswald from the clock, whatever, the book depository. He shot the guy, game over, boring story. But then you start looking at, the magic bullet and the man in the grassy knoll and the gun smoke. And it becomes a story. It becomes a thing. And then they've made movies about it, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, they have. Back and to the left.
Right, exactly. Back and to the left.
And to the
back
left.
and to the left. Right. So it
You will age yourself, by the way, by whether or not you recognize that quote. So just know that.
so it kind of becomes a fun thing in certain instances,
And
then in other instances when you start people deny the Holocaust, it's like, dude, really? No, that's come on.
But okay, so I do agree with you that to some degree they can be fun and interesting because there's a story there. But there's a tremendous danger because
there is a danger. Yes.
What you just said about JFK versus denying the Holocaust. If we believe that those are both conspiracy theories, because they are, then they must be very two different kinds of conspiracy theories, like in their definition, in their nature. Because one is a little bit delusional and maybe ridiculous, but a kind of a neat story if you fictionalize it enough and you think about, all the crazy things that might have happened in the CIA, etc. And then the other one is just batshit fucking crazy racist prick fuck Nazis kind of thing. And that those are very different results though.
They are, but it's the same. It falls into the same basket of conspiracy theory, right? So there's different levels.
There's got to be.
Even the what was the stalking one?
Gang stalking.
Gang stalking one. That's still more of a. It's not a global thing. It's personalized, right? Because it's happening to an individual, and then you have groups of individuals who get together because they all share the same delusion and insanity. But it's happening to them. Right. There's no bigger thing happening other than them thinking that the government's monitoring them for whatever reason.
Right.
I lost my train of thought.
Well,
I hate it when that happens.
I know, me too. It happens to me all the time.
I just Frank Costanza it.
Well, I think I understand what you're saying. Is that those people don't? It's not a bigger thing than it is to what they're seeing to themselves, and provided it's not growing beyond that to them taking some form of action. Now here's the thing, those people, especially when they're reinforced by their peers, start to take action, because now instead of believing that they might be, because to some degree you can hear them say, like, I don't know, maybe I'm the crazy one, maybe this isn't really happening. Oh, but there's another red car. And then when you see it enough happening to other people, and that belief gets reinforced, and now you're more certain than ever that it is real, what's to stop that person from getting a gun and going up to that red car and saying, hey man, quit following me?
Nothing.
And for all you know, who's in that car? It's grandma and grandkids going to the grocery store, now being accosted by right.
Really good disguise, man.
Really good disguise.
You'd be amazed what they could do with makeup these days.
That's what they want you to think. Isn't that what they want you to think? One of my favorite arguments for the flat Earth argument is, if the government can get you to believe that the Earth is round, what else can they get you to believe? It's a piece of cake. They got you. Right? If they can get you to believe that NASA's an organization and we've been to outer space and we've landed on the moon and all that stupid shit, if they can get you to believe all that, well, what else are they going to get you to believe? They're going to get you to believe that there's a virus. They're going to get you to believe that there's racism. They're going to get you to believe that there's crime. All of this shit starts to gel together. And the danger that I saw years ago when I was researching this shit about these people coming together and then being self-reinforced by their peers is happening now to a point today in 2021, because by the time you hear this, it'll be 2021. Coming to a point today where it's the most dangerous it has ever been, short of holy wars. Because if you want to ask me, I'll bet you anything that the belief in a conspiracy theory, and here's where I upset people, it's not a whole lot different than a belief in the faith.
Well, it's funny. I was going to bring that back to our previous episode where I feel it's people's inherent need to believe in something.
And so wouldn't it be the case maybe, here's a conspiracy theory, I got one for you. The decline in overall belief in religion has increased the overall increase in belief in conspiracy theories, because the reasoning remains the same, but it's just a different thing we're believing.
Right. So you're trying to say that religion was a mind control method by the government to keep us under control?
No. No.
Now you're the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, except that one's pretty true.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can you prove it?
Not right now, but I can bring
the crazy man.
Yeah, well, that's fine. And look, hey, maybe we're all just as guilty. Nobody is immune. But I'm telling you, if there is any way to control a population, it is in the belief of the supernatural, based on your fear of death and the unknown, and in an effort to control your actions and your behaviors, and then spread your control as globally as you possibly can by going and civilizing the savages on faraway lands where you don't belong. I mean, holy cow, that's Catholicism, rah, rah, rah. Well done, folks.
Yeah, but if you believe in that, then you can go down the rabbit hole to say everything else is the same thing, right? If the government can use religion to control the population, then what else can they do? They can convince you that the world is round. They can convince you that we landed on the moon. They can, right? I mean, it's...
So the idea, okay, so here's the thing. Because now this is sort of fun, is the idea that what else can the government get you to believe, and to what degree will they go to get you to believe what they want you to believe? That concept extends across the board. So those people who say, if they can get you to believe the earth is round, what else can they get you to believe? I would argue they can get you to believe that the earth is flat.
True.
And then make you sound like an idiot to the people who believe the earth is round, so that you guys fight about it. So that way, instead of agreeing on a baseline of reality, you argue over what's real or not. Because I don't believe Putin is responsible for anything, except for Putin has always been, and in my view will be interested in increasing the power of the Russian Federation to as close as he can get to the old Soviet way. Mm-hmm. And the best and easiest way to do that is to destabilize the democracies that destabilize the Soviet Union in the first place. And the easiest way to destabilize a democracy is to get the people angry at one another. So I'm not saying that Putin is responsible for spreading conspiracy theories, because I'm pretty sure we did that on our own. But he looked at it and probably thought, look at that happening over there. I bet you if we poke a couple of people over there, they'll go and they'll wreck it themselves.
Well, it's definitely easier now.
So easy.
It's so much easier now.
Yeah. Like, he didn't hack anything. He just used it.
Yeah, there's no hacking needed. You just need a Twitter handle and a fun story and go.
Yeah.
Right? And you just need to be persistent about it. Think about this little stupid thing we're doing here with our podcast.
This
right?
little stupid thing. I think this is a great thing that we're doing, and it's big.
But
and it's long.
Think about what you've done on Twitter, right? You went on Twitter one day and you wanted to reach out to someone in New Zealand or Australia because we didn't have a listener from there. You posted something, you created a hashtag, and it ended up in the result that we got a listener in New Zealand and in Australia.
Yo, what up, New Zealand?
Now, I'm sure that if you had all the time in the world to dedicate yourself to sit in front of Twitter for 16 hours a day.
It was just my job.
Going fucking nuts with hashtags and posts, and we would have a significant amount of listeners in New Zealand, Australia, or wherever the hell you wanted to, because that's sort of how it works.
You're right. I should quit my job and just be on Twitter.
Fucking A, yeah.
I'm not trying hard enough, is what you're saying.
That's right.
I'm not good enough.
You're not smart enough. And goddamn it, people don't like you. But my point is that you can manipulate the system without doing anything illegal.
Yes. Yes. Or covert, for that matter, because those are
Right,
blatantly overt actions.
Right. You can create a Twitter account with the name of John Smith and start spewing stuff and just consistently spew the stuff and know how to spread the word, and someone will click on, and then that person will click, and then it's a pyramid scheme. It just keeps going, getting bigger, bigger, bigger. And now you're the silent one.
I was typing. It's that quote that I mentioned to you the other day that I butcher, and I don't remember where it's from. And I'm Googling it right now.
But now it's funny. Are we feeding into a conspiracy theory?
Oh, probably to some degree.
That the Russians have influenced American society now to the point just to destabilize us and make themselves. Yeah.
It is, and it's quite possible that that's precisely what we're doing.
Right.
And shame on us for doing that. But I would argue that there is sufficient evidence for that occurring for it to be explored anyway. Now, look.
According to who?
Well, according to me, because I've got a microphone and I'm saying the words.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
See.
Yeah. See. You're totally right that it may just be my own paranoid delusion, shared with a number of other people, that has propagated over the last several years. And everything that I say in its defense, can be construed as me making shit up or being paranoid or looking in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the difference, though, I think. That if you give me evidence that it's not happened that way, I will switch off like a light bulb. Okay, cool. I was wrong. I'm perfectly okay with that.
Right.
Okay, to that end, it hasn't occurred because it's hard to prove a negative, and in that it's difficult. But that's to me what it would take. But enough things happen, in my view, that it makes a good bit of sense. And look, here's the thing: just because we're deriding conspiracy theories doesn't mean that ridiculous covert shit doesn't occur and hasn't occurred throughout history that we didn't know about it until well after. I mean, for fuck's sakes, look at the dictators in South America. That was all us. That was all the United States who did that. In an effort to try to stop the spread of communism, the United States propped up, backed, and basically created the dictators that ruled over South American countries for generations, ruining people's lives, just to keep communism out of South America. Now, okay, maybe communism pretty bad, but is like authoritarian dictators better? Go ahead, South American.
I was going to say, thank God they did. If not, I'd still be in South America.
Right?
My parents would have never left.
Had it been the glorious, glorious name of communism, they would have remained. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't be happier for the CIA and their propping up of the Pinochet government. Pinochet, was that Argentina?
No, it's Chile.
That's Chile. What was Argentina's?
Argentina had a slew of military. What's her face? Perón.
Oh yeah,
the whole family.
Eva Perón. Yeah, I'm thankful.
But they had a shit ton of coups, and Argentina and Uruguay were under military rule for 60s, 70s, 80s, up until the early 90s.
Well, God bless Eva Perón.
And then
because without her, I wouldn't have Alex Perez.
There you go.
And so thank you, CIA. Thank you, United States government, for my dear friend, Alex Perez.
I'm sure they had some involvement in your part of the world too.
What, are you kidding me? They created it so they could destroy it. And then when everybody over there got really angry back at the United States for having wrecked their entire lives, they bombed them again and said, fuck you. And then people decided that none of it's real.
So if it wasn't for America's hand touching of the entire world, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
If the United States of America hadn't touched all of those people, then Alex and Mark would have never found one another.
That's right.
So thanks.
You would have been out in the desert. I would have been out in, who the fuck knows, the mountains, riding a horse.
I don't know why you put me in the desert. I come from the Fertile Crescent, my friend.
All right, whatever.
It was a crescent that was fertile. There were mountains. There's oceans. Yes, there was desert, but it still is a beautiful land when you ignore all the bombs and the bullet holes. Yeah.
Actually, I think there may be more desert in Argentina.
There's quite a lot more desert
Lebanon.
in Argentina than there is in Lebanon, actually, yes.
Sweet.
Yeah, hey, in case anybody didn't know, Alex is Argentinian and I'm Lebanese.
There you go.
Look at that.
And now everyone knows.
Now
the cat is... the cat's out of the bag. That's a stupid saying.
It is a stupid saying, because why would you just keep the cat in the bag the whole time?
Put a cat in a bag, yeah.
Well, but here's the thing. Even if you put the cat in the bag, why would you just keep the cat in the bag such that you can then be ready to let it out at any time? Like, why would you hold that cat in the bag the whole time? Cats don't like being in bags.
No, they don't.
It's nuts. They freak out.
Cats don't like being anywhere.
For very long. Yeah.
Yeah.
They love it until they hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid cats.
I think cats are great.
Yeah, you would.
I was once compared by a coworker to a cat. That was a funny sentence. I was once compared to a cat by a coworker. That's better. And he said, you're kind of like a cat. You're just sitting over there judging me, waiting for me to finish talking so that way you can pounce and say something that hurts my feelings.
He's right. I never thought of it that way. But yeah.
Am I that way?
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of a jerk.
A little bit. A lovable one, but yeah.
All right. Well, anyway.
So what have we learned today?
Absolutely nothing. The quote that I was looking for, I'm not able to find, but it's something to the effect of, it is easier to spread one falsehood than it is to spread 1,000 truths. And there's all these quotes that are attributed or attribute, or I don't know what I'm trying to say. Lots of people say that shit because it's fundamentally true. Through social media, we now have the ability to very easily spread a lie across great distances in very short time periods, and it is extremely difficult to disprove that lie, because it goes back to that what I just said earlier is disproving a negative. You cannot disprove a negative. It's just not a thing you can do. It's like the back and forth argument about whether God exists or not. I can't prove God doesn't exist. I can't. It's not a thing I can do. You might be able to prove God exists, but I can't prove he doesn't. So kind of stay, we're gonna hold on that for a while.
I'm holding on it.
How long? For how long?
I don't know.
I was gonna start humming the Jeopardy theme, but then I thought maybe we'd get some sort of copyright infringement or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. I can't afford a lawsuit right now.
I can't. Anyway, can
Trees to take down.
Can anybody ever afford a lawsuit ever?
Rich people.
Huh. Interesting.
They have incredible leverage.
Yes.
If you think about it, why would any rich person pay a bill of any sorts, right? I mean,
they could just argue their way out of it.
They could just say, "Yeah, you can take me to court, but I have enough money that I can sit in court for years, and you'll go bankrupt to collect, whatever the final 25 grand of your
It sounds
account."
it sounds like a way more expensive way to not pay a bill than just paying the bill.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's doable. If you have enough money at your disposal, you can just say fuck it to a lot of things.
That's true. That's true. I think that's fairly true.
It's definitely true.
You're definitely true.
I am very true.
So you asked a question that I completely ignored.
And I forgot the question that I asked. So go ahead.
I'll remind you of the question that you asked. The question that you asked was, so what have we learned?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing. Well, I don't think that's true. I think we actually learned something, or at least I think I learned something, because I think that what I learned.
What did you learn?
Is that I might believe in a conspiracy theory.
You do?
Well, I don't know that I do, but I might. So
I think you do.
Why don't you slow your roll? Because you're saying that's not the case. Are you trying to disprove my belief?
Nope.
Okay.
I have no proof to confirm it or deny it.
Interesting.
But it is a theory.
It's a theory.
It can't be.
Well, it certainly could be disproved, and it is purely a theory. I don't claim that it is true, but I look for it when I engage in the world in communications. I consider whether or not this is happening, and sometimes I see clues that it is, and sometimes I see clues that it isn't. And to be perfectly honest with you, what I have viewed within the world of social media and just media in general is that it's not just Putin; it's everybody. Anybody who has the opportunity to try to sway an opinion is utilizing every option they have to sway that opinion. And I believe that somewhere within all of that noise, there is a underlying goal for some, maybe more, but at least some, to destabilize at least the United States of America by causing us to conflict with one another in a way that we weren't going to otherwise. Because it is a fundamental fact of geopolitics that either you get together and you succeed together, or my success means your demise. And if you take the populist nationalist route, the only way that one works is, the only way I succeed is that if you don't. I need to take something from you to have more.
Yeah.
And so if you're, let's just say, guy dictator looking to exert power over an area that is currently being exerted by another, you could go in that area and you could fight them out of it, or you can go poke them in the ass until they freak out and they run away. And the second one sounds like a way easier, more clever way to do it than actually shooting a bomb. Because at some point, and now here I am, this is Conspiracy Theory Mark, at some point, we are at war and have been at war. We're just not necessarily shooting guns in the same way that we did before. Because warfare changes, so why wouldn't it take on a different form? Oh, look at you. He's leaning back pensively, folks.
Yeah. Nah.
I mean, it's possible. It might even be probable. I'm not saying it's true. It might be.
It's a theory, isn't it?
It is indeed a theory. I also
possibly a conspiracy theory.
It could be a conspiracy theory. Coming up on the next episode of Conspiracy Theories with Marc and Alex. I have also learned that there are different types of conspiracy theories, and some of them might be harmless and some of them might be harmful.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I've also learned, I'm telling you what I learned. I've also learned that there could be multiple reasons for believing in a conspiracy theory, which could start with mental illness and could end with curiosity. Well, here's what I think, though. I think they're bad. I think they're real bad.
Why?
Well,
some are, for sure.
Well, look, let's just say, for instance, that the things that I have just talked about are in fact a conspiracy theory, and therefore, by its definition, aren't real, and are just my imagination shared with a few other people. Okay? Let's just say that that's the case.
Right.
And I do nothing about it other than to just think about it and talk about it. Like, I take no action whatsoever of any kind, and I'm just simply completely passive. The danger still exists, in my view, that I will then have believed a thing that is not true, and instead of spending my time learning about or exploring things that are real and true, I've spent my time on nonsense. And just in that alone, I think there's a danger. In fact, I might even throw it out there that that's more dangerous than showing up at a pizza place with a gun, because if society,
but what if go ahead.
If society as a whole starts to operate in a world that isn't real more often than they operate in the real world with any vigor, then that's more dangerous than somebody shooting up a pizza place.
But what if in your head it's real?
It doesn't matter. What if it's just not real, though? Just because it's in my head doesn't make it real.
How do you know?
How do you know that your blue is my blue? Let's get high.
No, I can't do that anymore.
No, but I mean, seriously, like, how do I know? You're right. I don't know, right? I don't know. Maybe I have a mental illness that prevents me from understanding what's real or not. Or maybe I can be shown some proof or evidence or another point of view that changes my viewpoint based on what is observable and repeatable. Because to me, that's the name of the game. Is if this is a thing that you can show me a fucking paper trail back to Putin, well, of course it's real. But if it's all just conjecture and nonsense, then, I mean, maybe it's real, but really I should probably be going to work and earning a paycheck and raising children or not eating ketchup, anything that results in me being a functional human being.
It's interesting because it all comes back to people's need to believe in something, right? And then certain people, when they find that thing to believe,
they hang on, baby.
They hang on for dear life. You can't disprove. I mean, you read stories all the time. People at hospital wards dying of COVID, saying it's still a hoax. Like, dude, you're about to keel over, and you're saying it's still a hoax.
It's literally like my hands are around your neck, but you're denying that it's happening.
Right.
Yeah, I'm strangling you to death, but you think you're on a beach. What's that like?
We're a strange fucking bunch, man.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I wonder if we need to believe something, like if we truly need to believe it. And when I say we, just for clarity's sake, when I say we, I mean everybody. Like, I'm talking all of us, like the whole of humanity. Yeah. We. I would like to think that I don't need to believe things, but that's not true, because obviously I believe things. And just because I claim that I don't get hung up on certain beliefs doesn't mean that I don't have others that I don't think are just beliefs, and I maybe rationalize them as true. I don't know.
The danger.
How much are you charging me for this session?
A lot.
Yeah.
The danger lies in see. Okay, you, like you said earlier, you believe in things, right? But you're reasonable enough that if you had a belief and I was able to come to you and go, Mark, your belief is wrong, and here's the proof.
Oh yeah, I'd be done.
You would go,
fuck.
All right, fuck. I was wrong.
Stupid prick believed all that shit for all that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas, again, and it doesn't have to be a large part of the population. It has to be just enough to fuck things up. Right? So even if it's only 10%, that 10% could fuck some shit up.
That's true.
So, you add, there's so many factors, man. Think about how much free time people have now.
Jesus.
Even before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Even before, I mean,
I don't have to go and collect my water. It just comes to me.
Right. And the fact that you have free time and now we have these internet machines literally at our fingertips, man.
The devil's rectangle.
Whereas, you think back to when we were kids, when we had free time, what did we do? We went outside.
Go outside and play.
We did some shit, right? Here's a branch. I'm gonna play with this branch, and whatever.
I'm gonna jam this branch into Timmy's spokes.
Right. I'm gonna do something. I don't know what, but I'm gonna do something because it's either that or I'm gonna stare at a wall and just drool. And now, people don't play anymore. They sit on their things and they look things up and they surf and they look for information. They go down rabbit holes and
yeah.
it's a blessing and a curse. The technology we have,
I mean,
right?
fuck, that's true of everything. Isn't it?
It's cool that we can do this thing,
Right.
right? But the machines that we're doing it on allow us to do a whole lot of other shit that if we were maniacs or bored or wanted to fuck with people, we could.
I kind of want to fuck with people sometimes.
You could, you could easily.
I know.
I've always been convinced you could start a cult and have a decent following.
I have wanted to start a cult for quite a long time.
You're very persuasive, man. You can do it in a heartbeat.
Thanks.
I
Thanks.
have faith in you.
If anybody's interested in joining my, and just to be clear, it's an orgy cult. I want to start an orgy cult, and women between the ages of 19 and 25 are welcome. And Alex.
Nope, I'm out.
Well, I want to have sex with you too.
Well, you had your chance. You blew it.
Damn it. He never lets me.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So.
But it's true. I mean, all you need is one strong personality to have some free time and the accessibility to reach many people.
So.
And there you go.
So this goes back to something I've been saying for a lot of years, is that I believe that we're the same as we've always been, except there's just more of us now and we're louder, etc. We've got new, different, bigger, better tools to be able to communicate, and therefore any bits of idiocy that we may have had 200 years ago that we still have today, they're just now able to spread like wildfire, where before you had to go walk 3 days to get to town to tell someone.
That's exactly it. The village idiot now has a larger audience because he can.
Well, you could argue that the village is quite a lot larger and easier to communicate with in that case.
Yes.
So, okay. I'll preface anything that's said next with the internet, like you said, is a blessing and a curse, right? We have this ability to do extraordinary things with the sharing of information, the repository of knowledge, the speed of our commerce, etc., all that stuff. But we also have the ability to be complete morons and at the same speed, if not faster, spread ignorance, hate, and mistruths. And I would argue that is the same as any other tool that humanity has ever received. It's fire. It's the same thing as fire. Because one day fire happened and we were like, dude, we are so warm and happy right now. Isn't this great? And then somebody set somebody else's hut on fire and it sucked. And then they realized they could use that fire to hurt someone else. And then fire became both a tool and a weapon. Why isn't the internet also both of those things?
A tool and a weapon?
Yeah, it's both, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So nuclear power, tool and a weapon.
Yeah.
Al McGee, both a tool and a weapon.
Al McGee?
Yeah, Al McGee. I wanted to introduce myself to you. My name is Al McGee. I got the alphabet. Got Hep, A, B, and C.
Episode took a quite left turn there.
Don't they all?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody who knows.
Nobody knows.
Somebody knows. People know. You know.
I know.
You don't think other people know?
No.
Oh, they know.
The audience isn't big enough yet.
Yeah, but that's exactly my point, is that so
get on the Twitter. Make the audience bigger.
The people. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm not working hard enough. I got to try harder. This is, by the way, coming from the guy who started the Twitter account, who said he was going to do the Twittering, and then the guy who hates social media with a passion is the one doing the Twittering. By the way,
yeah, it's irony, isn't it?
It's all me. All right, I'm the one. When I say we, it's really just me.
Absolutely.
We would be delighted for you to listen to us on podcasting sites. That's when I say it's me. I'm saying it.
Yeah, no, it's 100% you.
Speaking of which, as of this recording, let's see where we're at. We are at 198 downloads.
Any Russians?
Yeah,
we had one Moscow listener.
Yeah, there was a Russian. But the point is, it is December 31st. It is 1:17 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. on December 31st. And I'm like sitting here looking at this number going, man, just 2 more downloads and we can hit 200 before the year is out.
Do you want me to download some
No,
episodes
because
so we
then
can reach
no,
200?
it's the same thing as me going to the website to look at it, see what it looks like, because then I'm just making traffic and it's meaningless.
I'll get in my car later. I'll drive to a different town on the island. I'll download the episodes from there, and then.
Well, yeah, maybe. Let's. Anyway, hey, it is our final recording of 2020, is it not?
It is, yes.
Interesting. Well, this is thus far. This has been a very enjoyable time with you, Perez.
This has been fun.
Even if
This has by far been one of the most fun things we've done, and we've done a lot of fun things.
we've done a lot of fun things, and this is definitely up there, and it's certainly been a highlight of what has otherwise been a year of complete and total garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how people think that just because it's a new year is coming,
It's gonna
like things are going to change. It's like, dude, no, like everything. This isn't a reset button at 12:01. Like all the shit that was there at 11:59 will still be there at 12 o'clock. It's just going to have a different date after it.
Well, if you weren't feeling bad before, you're feeling bad now, folks. Thanks again for listening to the Dear Brother podcast. You can find us at dearbrother.podcast.com.
Sorry for the dose.
No, but you're
of
right.
a cold
You're
water
fucking right.
reality,
I mean,
but it's
the clock. Look, the clock's already struck midnight in Australia, and guess what? It's still the same shit.
yeah, it's just like, dude, none of this is going away just because the clock's turning. Only we can make this go away. Only we can prevent forest fires.
That's what they want you to believe, Alex.
I believe it.
That's exactly what they want you to believe. And if they could get you to believe that, what else can they get you to believe?
Everything.
They can get you to believe the earth is round, and that the virus is real, and that George Soros is a human being and not a lizard man.
No, he is a lizard man. So is Bush and Clinton.
Right.
They're lizard people.
They are lizard people. Well, then
I wish there were lizard people. It would make things a lot more interesting.
Wouldn't it be cool if there were actually lizard people?
Fucking A, yeah. I'd love to have a lizard person live on my block.
You'd have a Buddhist monastery and lizard people. What a crazy neighborhood that would be.
Hey, there's Jim, the lizard guy. It's not bad.
It's not bad. A little slimy, but he's fine.
A little slimy. Keeps the mosquito population down, so bring him in.
He's had a lot of kids, which I'm really thankful for, because he keeps the mosquitoes down with his kids. They go out at night in the evenings, and they eat up all the mosquitoes.
Fucking lizard people. Now, see, that's a theory that's just, I mean, can you prove it? So your Putin theory, you at least have some sort of, you can probably give me some sort of evidence.
I can give you
right?
evidence. I just don't have it right now. So.
I would love to find the person who could give me evidence of lizard people.
Circular logic. Did you hear about the guy a lot of years ago, a really long time ago? Came out of nowhere, it seemed like. Started saying all these things people really, really liked. Was killed for them terribly by the government. And then came back from the dead?
With chocolate Easter eggs.
That was amazing. Those cute little bunnies. Did you hear about that? Hear about that guy?
I did.
Yeah.
Pretty cool dude.
Fucking pretty cool dude. Started, there was this one time.
He had great hair.
There was this one time where people were super, super thirsty. And he took all of their water and he made it in a wine, dude, just to fuck with them. And they had no more water to drink. So they all just got really, really drunk. Is that how the story goes? Is that how that goes? They were in the fucking desert, for fuck's sakes. And they were so thirsty. He took water in the desert and made it not water.
I don't think that's how the story goes.
Okay.
If anything, he did harm to those people. Alcohol dehydrates you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If anything, he should have turned the wine into water. Then they would have been able to survive.
Maybe he was the Antichrist.
Wouldn't that be a fucking show?
Wouldn't that be a show?
If, in fact, he was the Antichrist.
Yeah, think about it.
And the whole time, everybody's like, oh, no, he's Christ. And they're like, no, turns out, whole time he's been the Antichrist.
We really wanted water. He gave us alcohol.
Fucking guy. And we thought it was amazing, but really we were just super thirsty.
So many people died of dehydration.
And then to make it worse, bread. He gave us bread. What makes you thirstier than bread? Soaked up all that water in our mouths. It was crazy. People were dropping like flies. Talk about flies. All the fish just laying around everywhere. Flies were coming like crazy.
It was awful. Oh, gosh. You just destroyed the Bible.
Oh, no. No, not even close. Not even close. The Christians did that themselves. Yeah. You heard me.
Wow. I never thought of that story that way until now, but it all makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. Look at
What the
that.
hell was he thinking?
Sadistic bastard.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Literally and figuratively.
Oh, man. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy fucking New Year, everybody. God damn it. We are just really, really delightful.
We are. We have a whole new year to be delightful with.
Yes. I'm excited. By the time you're listening to this program, the new year has already come and gone. It'll be at least a weekend or so, probably. But yeah, look forward to continued episodes of the Dear Brother podcast with Alex and Mark. Our plan is to continue to upload every Friday unless something changes that. And if something changes that, we'll let you know. We'd really like it if you continue sharing our program with your friends and your family, because if we get enough people listening to this thing, we might be able to quit our jobs and move in together.
I don't know about that, but yes.
Wait, I thought that's what this was for.
No.
But
we could be neighbors.
Whatever.
We could build a tunnel between our houses.
Dude.
That'd be cool.
Can our bedroom windows face each other?
I don't know. Can they? I mean, sure. We can try. I'll call the authorities on your indecent exposure. Because apparently that's a thing.
Hey, man. Underwear's for suckers.
That's a t-shirt. Write it down.
Okay. Say goodbye to everyone, Alex. Make it meaningful and thoughtful and expressive. Go.
Meaningful and thoughtful and expressive.
Yes.
I'd like to thank everyone who has listened this year for listening. I hope you come back and listen to us next year. I don't know what we're going to do, but it's going to be fun because we like to have fun with this thing. I hope everyone genuinely has a safe and healthy New Year, and that by this time next year, perhaps, if things go well, Mark and I can actually record one of these things in the same room together. That'd be pretty fucking cool.
That'd be splendid.
So hopefully everyone can do their part so that that's possible.
Here.
Yes.
You're way more sincere than I am.
I am sincere. Hey, thanks for listening to our podcast. You could find us on Twitter at dearbrother_pod or on our website, dearbrotherpodcast.com.